And we are back. This movie takes place around Christmas time. I don't know if we consider it a Christmas film, but what the hell? It is 1984's Gremlin. This is rated PG with a runtime of 1 hour and 46 minutes. This comes to us from screenwriter Chris Columbus and director Joe Dante. According to the IMDb blurb, after receiving an exotic small animal as a Christmas gift, a young man inadvertently breaks 3 important rules concerning his new pet, which unleashes a horde of malevolently mischievous creatures on a small town. This stars Zach Galligan, one of my favorites from the 80s, as Billy, and he's the young man that gets the Mogwai from his dad as a Christmas gift. The Mogwai is called Gizmo and is voiced by Howie Mandel. I had no freaking clue.
Me neither.
I was like, wait a minute, what? What now? And I actually remember seeing this in the theater. Did you?
Yeah, I saw this in the theater as well.
So it's still cute, but I think something that you said as soon as we were done watching the film, which I think is 1,000% correct, is that in 2025, this is definitely a kid's film.
Yeah, this is 100% a kid's film. When I was little, I loved the hell out of this movie. I loved the idea of having some sort of little creature, and I loved the evil gremlins. You loved Gizmo. He was so goddamn cute. But now you watch it, and it's sort of like, yeah, this is more pandering towards little kids. The story, the character is... I don't think it holds up for an adult viewer.
So, interestingly enough, I sort of remembered this. Like, according to IMDb trivia, parent groups were upset of the level of violence in this thing.
Yeah, especially the scene of the woman on the stair lift.
Yes. And so I sort of forgot that. And apparently they basically said in the IMDb trivia that because of all the pushback, that's when they started PG-13 because of this film.
Oh, really? I did not know that this was one of the causes of it.
This is this film broke cinema and needed to have the creation of PG-13, I believe. I think that's what I read. I kind of remember like the backlash about this film, but it's funny because I don't remember being scared. Do you?
No, I was charmed as hell by those little bastards.
So this is 84, so I'm like 12, so it's like 7th grade. You're like in the 6th grade. We're not like tiny kids. This was totally in my wheelhouse, and I love the horror comedy aspect of this.
Yeah. It reminded me a lot of the Muppets. I mean, you're dealing with puppets, and honestly, we loved about the Muppets was the violence.
Yes,
the slapstick, sort of like everybody's getting hit or knocked or smacked through a wall. I mean, Miss Piggy was literally throwing people through walls and stuff.
As she should.
Yeah, and this was basically that, but with cooler looking little creatures.
Right. And I mean, I feel like the licensing retail on this was nuts because
I would be shocked if
Gizmo was just so freaking cute. I think I had a Gizmo plush at some point.
I mean, there were tons of little Gremlins toys, if I remember right. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, this was Steven Spielberg didn't direct this, but he produced it.
Yeah, that guy knows that
guy.
When he sees
I mean,
one.
He was friends with George Lucas, and George Lucas was just like, get the merchandising rights.
Yeah.
Get the merchandising rights.
Yeah.
You will not regret
it. And I think Henson did the Mogwai.
I don't believe so. I think I would have noticed if his name was attached to that.
It's funny because we saw this on Turner, and they mentioned that the special effects guy...
Chris Wallace.
Yes. What did he do? Did he do Dark Crystal? No,
Dark Crystal was completely Henson.
Right.
Yeah, that was like the first. They were like, oh, we're bringing puppets to a new level and making a motion picture entirely with puppets. But the Gremlins, it was by this the guy who designed it was a special effects guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it was Chris Wallace, Tony McVeigh.
I mean, there's a huge cast of people that
Rick Baker. Rick Baker is, you've probably heard his name.
Heard of him, yes, of course, yeah.
And the director was Joe Dante.
Yes.
He loves his effects. We recently watched about that. We recently watched The Howling, and The Howling. One of the things I raved about that was like the best looking freaking werewolf
ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would even say even now, like we don't really focus on werewolves. I think everybody does the whole vampire nonsense or now zombie nonsense, but werewolves are still kind of not really, although those underworld movies.
Let's not talk about the underworld movies.
All right, well, getting back to Gremlins from 1984, what did you think? I mean, I feel like it was okay. I think if I was between the ages of 7 and 12, this would be my love and night. But as a grown person, I found parts of it kind of dull and slow, but it was still okay.
There are certain scenes that go on a bit too long, and I think that it's too long for an adult viewer. But as a kid, I was perfectly fine. I think they spend about 5 whole minutes or 10 minutes in that bar where Phoebe Cates is just being tormented by them and still serving them alcohol.
Yes.
For some reason, yeah, that was another thing about it that you could see this is made for kids because everybody is just such a moron in this movie.
You said that. You said Billy was the biggest idiot.
Billy was the biggest idiot in the world. He's bringing his dog to work. It's like, oh, there are 3 rules, Billy. Don't get him wet. Don't feed him after midnight. Don't shine bright lights at him. He's constantly shining bright lights at it. And then they just dump water on it by accident. And it's just like he doesn't even try to clean the water up. He doesn't even seem distraught that water has been splashed on this thing. And then suddenly there's 5 of them. And he's just like, oh, wow, look, there's 5 of them. I would be kind of freaked out. I would be like, my dad gave me some weird looking monkey and I got it wet. And now there's freaking 5 of them.
Exactly.
And the new ones that appeared, they don't seem as nice as the first one.
No.
And then it's like you're just an idiot. And how do you not know that like what time it is? It's like, oh, the gremlin bit through the wire and broke my clock. And who just keeps a platter of chicken legs? Like this giant platter of chicken legs. And then on top of that, he's just like, oh, this is food for my family, but I'm just going to feed it to these weird monkeys. He's an idiot. He's a blithering idiot. And Phoebe Cates is a blithering idiot. She's like, oh, yeah, I'm working at nights in this bar. And the bar is invaded by like hideous little reptilian gremlin creatures. And she's just like, okay, I'm just going to keep serving them alcohol. People are stupid in a way that an adult is just like, oh, this is stupid. But as a kid, you don't care about any of that. You just want to see the gremlins running around, screaming, laughing, pretending to be flashers. Like, what's going on there? They're shooting each other. There was a point where somehow they were like guns were involved. One of them was just like a detective for some reason. They were just like playing little parts and engaging in little vignettes and skits that little kids would love. But as an adult, you're kind of like, okay, this really isn't targeted at me. So little kid me loved this film, but adult me, there were bits in it that were kind of boring and a little bit too stupid for me to accept as anything other than really simple children's fare.
Yeah, yeah.
And in today's day and age, you get the benefit of being treated to kids' movies that have great stories and like amazing character arcs that little kids can enjoy and adults can enjoy. But I think because this is kind of one of the early examples of a kids' movie that was given like an adult budget and special effects, they didn't really care too much about the story. There wasn't a ton of polishing on that story.
No, it's very simple.
It's very simple. It kind of harkens back to like the 50s when like you don't give a damn about the story. It was just like, oh, that crazy looking alien, let's shoot it.
It sort of has like this old-timey pulpy feel to it, doesn't it?
I mean, right down to the town. The town is this like idyllic Americana town. There's like the town square and everybody's house is all covered in Christmas lights, and there's the mean old woman who's very wealthy, and then there's the idiot bank manager. Yeah, everybody's just a simple-minded fool, and they're just living in this sort of Norman Rockwell painting, and then suddenly monsters show up.
So I think I turned to you at one point and I was like, why does the town look so familiar to me? According to IMDb trivia, the set for Kingston Falls is the same one used for Back to the Future, 1985.
You know what? I could see that.
Both movies were filmed on the Universal Studios backlot.
When I was watching it, I kind of felt like there were similarities there, but it was different enough.
Yeah. So two more things that I want to highlight from IMDb trivia that sort of go hand in hand. Number one, Kate's speech about her father proved to be controversial. Studio executives insisted upon its removal as they felt it wasn't clear whether it was supposed to be funny or sad. Director Joe Dante, however, stubbornly refused to take the scene out, saying it represented the movie as a whole, which had a combination of horrific and comedic elements. Executive producer Steven Spielberg did not like the scene, but despite his creative control, he viewed this movie as Dante's project and allowed him to leave it in. And then the other one that I think I mentioned to you before, which was this movie and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, 1984, are credited with inspiring the MPA, Motion Picture Association, to create the PG-13 rating. Many felt the movies were too violent for a PG rating, but not violent enough for an R. Subsequently, the first movie to be released into theaters with a PG-13 rating was Red Dawn, 1984. Which came out a couple of months later in August. Another film that received the rating, The Flamingo Kid, 1984, was supposed to be in theaters in summer 84, but was delayed to December. So, interestingly enough, it's kind of funny. I sort of remember, like, all the hysteria, I guess, from the 80s about, I guess, heavy metal music and...
Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragon. What was it? Nuclear apocalypse.
We were all just a second away from being nuked.
Yes. So it's funny that people kind of got crazy about these films.
Remember when they were like going berserk because they thought that if you played Stairway to Heaven backwards, it was going to just open a portal to hell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was one of
remember,
many urban legends, I believe. Yes. But getting back to this film, it kind of is a horror, but not really. Because to me, like, Mogwai was so cute and cuddly, and even with, like, the Gremlins, like, still wasn't crazy enough to me. And I feel like even with the scenes of violence, it didn't feel that over the top. I feel like we've seen other things that were more just deranged than this.
Well, I feel because it was a very cartoonish type of violence.
Yes, maybe that as well.
We loved it because, like I said, we were used to the Muppets and like little things just knocking stuff around, and it was like a live action cartoon almost.
Right. And
so that sort of violence, it wasn't the same as the type of violence where people were losing their mind around that time about the horror films.
Right.
And you look at those, like, seriously, Friday the 13th, it's so goddamn tame.
Oh my gosh.
I don't even know if that would, like, Friday the 13th would get TVMA.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, maybe there's some.
Are
there some boobs in there or something? As the violence goes, it's nothing.
Is that what we watched? Or no, we watched Halloween and we were like, was this supposed to be scary? Right?
No, Halloween was better. It was Friday the 13th. That was the
one that we were like,
one,
this isn't really good.
Yeah, because it's kind of dull and you don't really get to see anything. Right. I mean, even in Halloween, you don't really get to see much, but there's better
storytelling there.
There's more tension in Halloween.
Yeah.
Whereas in the original Friday the 13th, it's just sort of like, all right, kill this one now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next.
Yeah. I think you're right.
It's like, yeah, the killer just had a list. All right, we got to kill this one.
So this film has 1,000 tags. It's tagged as dark comedy, dark fantasy, folk horror, holiday comedy, monster horror, quirky comedy, supernatural fantasy, supernatural horror, comedy, and fantasy. Yeah, I guess I could see.
I think just they're throwing fantasy in there because they're mythical creatures, but it's honestly just like a horror comedy with little monsters in it.
Right. I feel like today's kids, I mean
now kids they're watching Five Nights at Freddy's and
which we're going to pair with this one. Funny enough.
And there's like 90% of the stuff they see online is 10 million times worse than this.
Right. This is so tame. I mean, I found it a little boring, to be honest.
Yeah, as an adult, like I said, it's geared towards kids, so an adult is not going to find it interesting, and it's not the type of kids movie where they kept an adult in mind. It's not like it's not Inside Out.
Right.
And as far as like horror comedy goes, we're spoiled now with that as well because we've seen very good horror comedies. Right. And even back then, there was like Evil Dead 2 is an amazing horror comedy.
And that still holds up.
And that one of the benefits of that, they really went for the horror, like gore and whatnot, just ridiculous gore.
Yeah.
And in this, it was very sanitized. There's like a scene I remember where they're running through the streets and people are like running around. The gremlins are like attacking them. They're like on people's backs. They're making people crash cars. And then the two main protagonists go back out into the street, and the street's empty. There's no dead bodies. There's no blood in the snow. There's nothing. It's just sort of like, okay, it almost has that sort of cartoon-like continuity where it's sort of like, yeah, okay, you just got blown up by a bomb and turned into dust. Well, now you're back at 100% at the next scene.
Did you see the second one or no?
I've never sat through it from beginning to end, but I've seen enough of it. Yeah, that one they really lost their minds with that one.
I'm curious now.
Yeah,
I'm
curious too.
now.
But yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff in that one. It had an interesting premise with like genetically modifying the gremlins, but I don't know if people liked it.
Well, funny enough, there's going to be a Gremlins 3 for 2027.
All right. Well, hopefully they get a better.
And this one's going to be directed by Chris Columbus.
All right. Well, hopefully they make it a little bit more palatable for an adult. I'm not saying this was a terrible movie. I mean, it's probably a good kids movie.
Yeah, no.
In fact, it must, because when I was a little kid, I really did like Gremlins.
Yeah, same. And I was just gonna say, I mean, I saw this in 7th grade, right? I like the crap out of it, but as an adult, I found it a little boring. I mean, it's cute, but I agree with you. Like, if I'm between the age of like 7 and 12, I think this would be the sweet spot for me, because this would definitely be entertaining. The Mogwai are so damn cute. It's a straight, simple story. You have your hero, you have the love interest. Her story about Christmas and her dad is pretty far out, but I mean, it's still...
I could see why they had concerns about that. It is a bit out of place.
It did feel a little out of place, but still, whatever. I mean...
You want to, like, have this girl have, like, some sort of tragic holiday thing, but you want to make it comedic. It just wasn't over the top enough. Like,
right.
if she told some, like, crazy story where you were laughing,
right,
then that would be one thing. That would fit, I think, better. But what she basically told was just, yeah, my dad was really stupid.
Well, I think the other thing, too, is as children brought up in the 70s and 80s, nobody bubble wrapped us. I mean, a lot of kids' entertainment was super dark. So it just goes to show you that this is definitely a product of the time.
I'm 100% with you. The 80s was full of gratuitous sex and violence.
Yeah. And people weren't not going to the films because they could just bring their kids and nobody judged them, I think. Yeah. I guess, because my brother and I saw a bunch of crap we probably shouldn't have.
Me too.
I was going to say you as well. So in that sense, I feel like a lot of the kids' entertainment back in the day, I mean, your example, too, of the Muppets, right? They're bordering on dark comedy.
I mean, they're beating each other up.
Right.
They're yelling at each other.
Yeah. I mean,
it was
even
great.
Stuff like I had to watch it for film discussion, but Dark Crystal, it's definitely dark. That's not a fun, loving, yippee kind of film. There's some dark elements to it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of scary. I mean, if you're a little kid watching the Skeksis,
yeah.
I mean, they're not cute. I'm assuming there's a reason why there wasn't licensing and retail on that.
Well, I did have the Dark Crystal board game. Honestly, any of the Jim Henson stuff is probably a bad example because they're like bopping up and down as they walk around. As soon as you can be as serious as you want, as sinister and evil as you want, but as soon as you leave the room and you're bopping up and down as you walk, it kills the vibe.
All right, fair enough. If you were going to give this a number between 1 and 10, what would it be?
I mean, kid me would probably give this like a 7 or an 8, but adult me is kind of leaning towards 5.
Really? I was going to give it a 6. I think from where it starts to where it ends, it's cute. And I think I was a little bored. I got up.
All right, it may be a 6 because
it's cute.
It's definitely better than average. So yeah.
Yes, it's definitely better than average. Is it going to keep you completely entertained? Possibly not, but I think
if you've
got small children, I think that they would really like this. And I think just the whole idea of the gremlins and how mischievous and destructive they are, that totally is palatable for young children who are basically feral animals. So I think that would totally hit. I'm surprised they haven't tried to reboot this property.
I mean, there was a cartoon not too long ago.
Was there? Of Gremlins?
Yeah. Well, they announced a cartoon, and that's when they also announced that there was going to be a movie coming out that was in development. But the cartoon actually already came. I think it was like on Netflix or Max or something.
Oh, isn't.
It was like a direct to streaming sort of cartoon.
No, I don't remember.
Series,
wait a minute, did we see that on the?
Yeah, you passed through. It was like Secrets of the Mogwai or something like that.
Oh, I think you're right. You're right. I didn't even notice that. Yeah. Now that you mention it, I remember. Yeah. Well, I didn't know the film thing until I just looked at the IMDb page. So that's kind of interesting. It's interesting how we're recycling old properties again. All right. Well, we'll wrap it up. But before we do, we'd like to encourage everyone to like, share, and follow. And again, from 1984, back in the good old days, it is Gremlins. Rated PG, although many adults, parents, and groups were mortified at this film.
Responsible for an entire new rating.
Yes. Rock on, Gremlins. 1 hour and 46 minutes. This comes to us again from director Joe Dante and writer Chris Columbus. This is streaming on Hulu, Disney Plus, AMC Plus, HBO Max, and to buy rent on Prime Video, as well as other platforms. All right, so that's it from us, and we will return with another review soon. And with that, we'll bid you all a
good night.
Good night.